Welcome to episode 8 of Main Street. What a weekend we had. We got to see a couple teams, if they're for real. And if I'm scoring this right, I think Oregon just scored again.
Dude, holy crap. 2 touchdowns in the first 3 plays on offense. They sent Mike Gundy home with his tail tucked between his legs. But it already was in the first place, considering the narrative that he wanted to pitch all week.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting. At halftime, Oregon had 6 touchdowns. Oklahoma State had 5 first downs.
Bush NA, by the way, guys. Bush NA.
Yeah, it was.
What's that? Sorry, I was distracted.
No, I was saying I thought it was interesting. At halftime, Oregon had 6 touchdowns. Oklahoma State had 5 first downs.
Oh my gosh. I mean, that was just like, dude, if you're Mike Gundy, like, I'm going to say this later. I'm going to repeat myself, but I can't get over the fact that he seriously set the narrative so that, like, he could justify a huge loss. Like, in my mind, that's all that he did. Like, before it happened.
Yeah, Gundy's always talked crazy, though, so I don't think too much into it. What I did want to ask, because I've been thinking about this, like, he was already on the hot seat, and I don't see him making it past this year. So I kind of wanted to pick your brain on who would you say is a candidate to be the next Oklahoma State head coach?
Dude, I think that it's your boy at USF. Like, I think that's the first place you have to look.
So I don't think it'll be him, only because I think he's going to be at Florida.
Well, I did say that this weekend too. Like, I thought that basically he put on an audition for Florida. But I don't know. What if Florida wins? What if Florida has a crazy SEC schedule and wins a ton of games, and USF is for real? Like, Napier's not going to go anywhere. He's got to have a horrible conference season too.
Yeah. I know a lot of Oklahoma State fans are looking at, like, Zach Robinson, the Falcons offensive coordinator. But I just feel like in this day and age, you can't go to NFL right now. You have to go to college, and you have to get a coach that's been around the recruiting and the NIL. And you got to bring someone that's honestly going to bring guys with them. So my pick would be Jonathan Smith up at Michigan State.
That's never going to happen.
Why not?
It's the Big 10 versus the Big 12.
But he's always going to be little brother to Michigan. And I know you could say that about Oklahoma State and Oklahoma, but they're in different conferences.
Yeah, I don't know, dude. Like, I mean, I don't hate that take, but I don't think that that's possible, just because Michigan State in the style of offense that is successful up there kind of suits what Jonathan Smith was building a little bit at Oregon State.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It'd be an easier gig to be successful in the Big 12. But Michigan State's been to the pinnacle of the Big 10 as well. So I don't know.
Yeah, it'll be something to keep an eye on all season. Obviously, there's going to be, like, Dan Mullen will probably be an option from UNLV.
Sure.
Be a couple other guys that I don't think you'll get Spencer Danielson out of Boise State. I don't think that's happening.
No, he seems like he's one of those guys that just is kind of set where he is, at least for now. I think they got a good thing going.
A follow-up to that, who's got a hotter seat right now, Gundy or Deshaun Foster?
Ooh, Deshaun Foster.
My goodness.
That's why I asked you at the beginning of the year. I was like, what's your thoughts on Deshaun Foster? And you're like, I like him.
I do like Deshaun Foster, but, man.
That's a struggle, man.
UCL ass.
Yeah, did you? UCL ass.
Jeez.
That's good. It's good stuff.
All right, so we got past those. Let's jump into week 2. Do we start with the big game down in Norman on Saturday night?
Well, I want to hit on one thing because
Okay.
we talk about him all the time. Haynes King, our Heisman guy,
Yeah.
did not play against Gardner Webb, and it was listed as just a generic lower body injury, right?
Yeah. Hey, Georgia Tech, can you tell us a little sooner? Because some of us have Haynes King on fantasy.
Yeah, no kidding. Luckily, I still scored over 200 points on mine, but
Yeah.
even that was without Haynes King. But man, like, it had me nervous, like initially, because when I saw the injury flag pop up, I was like, okay, what's the deal? And I thought maybe too that it was possible that maybe they were just sitting him against Gardner Webb because
Yeah.
it's a long season, right? We've talked about that
Well, and it's
roster
Clemson
management.
week this week.
What's that?
And Clemson's coming to town this week.
Yeah, and so like having a really fresh Haynes King is going to be a big factor in that game, in my opinion, and especially, well, it's Clemson didn't play very well against Troy, and maybe they were caught overlooking to Georgia Tech too. I mean, who knows? But
a hangover game from LSU.
Well, then I guess is LSU the same way because they freaking blew ass.
They struggled with Louisiana
Tech. And Nussmeier played the whole game. I had to go check the box score just to make sure that they didn't play like a bunch of subs and stuff. No.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just.
Now, I will say the interesting thing about Georgia Tech with Haynes King not in the offense, like their dynamic changes quite a bit. Like Aaron Philo, I think it's Philo. Like he's more of a pure passer type guy, and so obviously, like they have to find ways to run the ball that doesn't involve the quarterback. I think he only had like 2 rushes, but he threw for 370 some yards, and like they got their other running backs and some dudes like the ball. I haven't watched the game, but you know,
and they still put up 59 points. I know it's Gardner Webb, but
still, I mean, I'm not like that was kind of a mention point like about Nebraska scoring, and we're gonna go over that. But like, look what Georgia did. Well, they only put up 28 on Austin P.
Yeah,
no,
and that's Austin P. Who's like they're in year 2 of recovering because their head coach left for UTEP last year, and like we just hit on with what they're doing, what coaches are doing now, he took most of that Austin P team with him to UTEP.
Right.
So they're in a rebuild right now.
Well, it doesn't. To me, like it's Austin P. Like this is not Rutgers versus Austin P.
Yeah.
This is Georgia versus Austin P. You know, it was our number 3 ranked group in the land. Number 4, I think, is actually what we had them at. And they just go out and I know they had weather delays and some of that stuff, and maybe that plays into effect, but to me, it's like the talent gap's so wide that it shouldn't have been like that.
Weather was an issue this weekend all over the East Coast.
Right.
I mean, we even saw it today with the NFL with Jacksonville being delayed 2 hours.
Right, I know. That's been a lot of rain and a lot of weather, and gosh, I found out the other day that apparently, I found out this morning that in around Orlando, I don't know how far DeLand, Florida is, but that's like the lightning capital of the United States.
Fun fact about DeLand: it's where Stetson University is.
That's right. So our buddy at Easy Living, he was one of the chain guys for Stetson's game last night.
No way, that's awesome. I need to have him get me some Stetson gear.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure he'll listen to this in the morning, so maybe he'll send us something.
Hey, buddy, my kid's name is Stetson, so send all the gear you want.
Yeah. So,
all right. So, is that anything else you wanted to add with Georgia Tech?
No, not really. Just, we'll get into previews on Wednesday. So,
yeah. All right. So, Oklahoma takes down Michigan last night. Bryce Underwood throws a conniption fit, and the youth comes out as him and Justice Haynes getting a fight on the sideline. I think all the questions about Arbuckle and Mateer, are they answered, or is this more of a on Michigan?
So I am of the thought process that after 2 weeks, Michigan is exactly who I thought they would be. And that's
Yeah.
still kind of more, it's closer to last year's group than it is what everybody was hoping they would be this year with Bryce being the starter, Underwood.
Yeah.
Like, to me, they're going to have great defense. They kind of showed that they can play good defense because I think Oklahoma's offense is going to be pretty dynamic.
Yeah.
Clearly, because Mateer's just a freak, and
Yeah.
the wide receivers they have are nuts. But Michigan, I think it's the story about that they're not quite as good or ready to make that jump back forward that they had 2 years ago.
Yeah. And now they go into Sharon Moore suspension for the next 2 games.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. So obviously they play next. No, they have next week.
Yeah, they play next week, and then they have Nebraska in 2 weeks.
Right, because they are off at the same time we are. That's right.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Like I had in my notes that I just wasn't like. I just think it's like, and I did this with our rankings too. Like the reflection. We didn't bump Oklahoma clear up into the top 10
No.
because, like the AP did, which is freaking egregious.
Yeah.
But in any case, one thing I
Knee-jerk
wanted to ask,
reaction.
I wanted to ask you one thing about Norman because it's so weird to me. Like when you have the computer and the two screens side by side with the Nebraska game on, and then you're
Yeah.
watching the Oklahoma Michigan game. Why is it so freaking dark in Norman?
Well, I think it's just the lighting in the older stadium.
It reminds you know what it reminds me of? Like it reminds me of my time like in Kearney and Grand Island area and going to a game at Kearney Catholic High School,
Yeah.
and like you saw punts go up higher than the poles of the lights, and it was
Yeah.
so freaking dark there. Like I was like, geez Louise, like let's get a light upgrade here in Norman. It's freaking dark there.
Yeah. I know there's a lot of people that complain about the press box, like when Nebraska would go play there. The stadium's very up and down.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if that has something to do with it too.
Sure.
And I've never been to Norman, so I can't tell you if it's one of those stadiums where when you walk in, you're on ground level. Like a lot of the newer age stadiums, when you walk in, you're either halfway or most of the way towards the top because they build them down into the ground.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I couldn't tell you. I haven't been to Norman. I was like that where when you walk into Kinnick, you're 3/4 of the way up. So I mean Nebraska, when you walk in, you're on ground level. So
Yeah. Yeah.
there's
Interesting.
one thing I do love about Norman. It's where the National Weather Service is based out of.
Oh, really? I
Oh
didn't
yeah,
even know that.
yeah. That's like the number
Well,
one school for weather. I
well, I
looked
guess
into
it
going
makes
there because I wanted to be like a meteorologist when I was growing up and chase
right.
tornadoes and stuff. So
Yeah. Well, in Oklahoma, I mean, I think they said we were looking at like this is an off-topic thing, but Morgan and I we were looking at, gosh, like home insurance rates and stuff, and they're the worst in Nebraska, Oklahoma, and Texas,
yeah,
and obviously like because of weather,
yeah,
especially Oklahoma, like
yeah.
so that's not surprising, I guess. But
Well, the next probably biggest game was Big Noon kickoff, Iowa State. It went about as Iowa State goes. Came down to a field goal, and
field goals and one touchdown, like there
yeah,
nobody's scoring multiple touchdowns, that's for sure. Like
yeah,
I thought it was interesting, and this has been hammered home on a lot of places, but like um the whole like Iowa State winning by a 54-yard field goal by the same kicker and everything to beat Iowa 2 years
yeah,
in a row was kind of neat. So,
yeah,
but like the storyline out of this game to me is the quarterback play in Iowa. Like how freaking like what's going on, dude?
yeah. I mean, you sent me this stat this morning about TJ Lateef, Nebraska's number 2 quarterback, had more passing yards in the third quarter last night than Mark Gronowski has thrown in 2 games.
Yeah, yeah, that's bad. Like
But on the flip side of that, like Iowa still put up 35 against Albany and made it a game against Iowa State.
Yeah, and so, I mean, I've been super high on Iowa State, and now I'm kind of like, and oh gosh, and we'll get to Kansas State, but like,
yeah,
there's just so many like scenarios that play in my head when I'm trying to figure out things, and I probably use transitive property a little bit too much when it comes to this stuff because matchup styles, like matchups matter, differences and stuff. So like, the fact that K-State and Iowa State had a close game in Ireland probably isn't as big of a deal toward Iowa State as it was, is maybe what people think, I guess, with K-State kind of having the wheels fall off, which we'll get to. But
Iowa State too is something that kind of I noticed in the South Dakota game and the Iowa game is every time you watch them, you feel like they're dominating the game. They're moving the ball. The defense is flying around, but then the score is not indicative of that.
Right. So I just don't understand. I don't get it. Like, are we just going to jump into K-State now?
Yeah, we can go. Let's do it.
Okay, because I mean, I have a couple things on Iowa I wanted to touch, but like, maybe we'll just go back here in a second. Yeah. But like, it's clear that the wheels have fallen off, and like, I think that they're in a position.
Ireland effect.
Yeah, well, it's like, I mean, it's like we talked about before. Like, if that's, I mean, it's now solidifying itself to being a real freaking thing. Like at first it's kind of just like, oh, okay, weird coincidence, blah blah blah. But you're going from now Kansas State thinking they were going to be a like a Big 12 title favorite preseason, in the national media, to now thinking like, is our quarterback going to stay for 2026?
Yeah.
Like, does Avery Johnson start looking and being like, this is not, because the culture thing, it's like, that's an issue, the culture. So I don't know, man. And it's not like Army came out and handled them after a giant win over Tarleton State. I mean, they lost to Tarleton State. So
were they looking ahead to Kansas State?
Oh gosh, no way.
No.
So I don't know. I kind of think like now we're gonna have to do like we always do our little check-in with Stanford. Now we're gonna have to add Kansas State to that list.
There's something going on. Like, I don't think Kleiman's on a hot seat at all.
No.
Like, he's a good coach. They've been good. I think this year, like, are they gonna follow in the footsteps of what happened to KU last year? Where they started off super slow and then got hot at the end of the year, and all of a sudden they're knocking teams out of the Big 12 title race.
They could. I mean, they definitely have the talent for it. I mean, being preseason rated ranked number 17, like clearly they had.
Yeah.
But now they don't have Dylan Edwards and probably not utilizing
Avery.
Well, we've said it many times, not utilizing Avery Johnson as well as we think they should.
But the defense is having issues too. I mean, they're giving up a lot of points.
Well, right. I mean, you give up 35 to North Dakota, like you're probably having issues.
It's baffling to me because I was told that Kansas State has the best defense in the Big 12. So,
yeah, well.
Oh, well.
Maybe on week 1 we thought it was, but
yeah,
clearly not the case now.
So, all right, we got our Kansas State bit off our chest.
I want to go back to Iowa quick.
Yeah.
Okay. So, like, I am curious with this bad quarterback play. Is that a caveat of the system, or is that like they just can't get a good quarterback? Because I want to know the play calling sequences actually in Iowa City. That's what I want to do. I want to go back and diagnose. Are they literally doing the like video game freaking run, pass?
Yeah.
Because if they do that, like that's so simplistic and stupid and astronomically dumb that like you're not even helping yourself out.
And they have not had just a good receiver since like DJ Koulianos and Marvin McNutt. I guess Darrell Johnson, Koulianos, and then Marvin McNutt, but like they haven't had anything. And
Dude, I just don't get it. Like,
but they have their tight ends are, I mean, it's tight end you for a reason. Like,
right.
and Gronowski, he had great numbers at South Dakota State. McNamara did well at Michigan. I mean, he didn't light it up by any means, but he was decent. He could win you games, and then it's just like,
yeah, I mean, like I would needed this to work, and it still could. I suppose it still could, but like Iowa needs this to work to be able to tell future quarterbacks, like, hey, this is the direction we're going. But
yeah,
right now, with the way the scoreboard was lit up this week, and we'll get into that,
yeah,
Iowa is so far behind in terms of anything innovatively on offense. Like, I want to know why in God's name, if they're such a run-heavy offense, a run emphasis offense, how they can't get anybody open on play action. Like, you don't need great receivers if your run game's good.
Yeah.
You just need dudes that are able to get separation in a play action, and the play action does that for you anyway, theoretically.
Yeah, so, and like for me, it's hard to talk shit on Iowa because how many years have we done this and then they beat Nebraska by a field goal?
But that doesn't matter. Like, I know that recency bias and that kind of stuff is a thing, but like we're in 2025, like for all intents and purposes, it looks like Nebraska is going to be way ahead of Iowa regarding the offense.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that there's not going to be a close game between the two.
Yeah.
No. I mean, it probably will still end up being freaking 23-17 and
13-10 with a field goal at the end.
Yeah, somebody's going to be falling asleep after their turkey dinner that day, just like Joe, like old sleepy Joe.
The one thing I will say is, how many years in a row has it come down to special teams, and Nebraska actually has good special teams this year?
Yep, great punter.
Okay, we're not going to talk Nebraska and Iowa. Is there anything
why not?
else? Yeah, no, we got 13 more weeks to talk about that.
Yeah.
Where do you want to go next?
Basically, the bottom line is that freaking Iowa needs to figure out an offensive identity before, like, they've got to do it, because I think that they probably could be a pretty good program, but the offense is just completely hindering them right now.
Okay.
So
I know where I want to go next, because ever since about 2:30 yesterday, all I could think of is, boy, I could not have been more wrong. And
Illinois?
And then you hit me with some Duke stats, and I was like, well, it makes sense.
So this is let me take the lead on this one, because I had to tell a few people this to just hold their horses on Illinois, because our butt Alex in Omaha, he was like ready to crown Illinois as like the top team in the conference, and it was because I told him that Duke was underrated.
Yeah.
Because of what we kind of talked about. But anyway, Duke had 5 freaking turnovers in the game, and still out-yarded Illinois. Like, they both went over 400 yards, but Duke had like 450 yards or something like that, and Illinois only like 410.
So when I checked the score last before we headed out to tailgate yesterday, it was 27-19, and Duke had the ball. The final score was 45-19.
Right. Yeah. So I mean, like, that was a shocking result. Like, 4 fumbles too. These were not mistakes like in the passing game by Mensah, like in trying to force the ball, playing catch up. These were freaking fumbles. Like, this was exactly the exact same thing as Oregon, Florida State in the playoff in 2014.
Yeah.
Like, that score got so inflated that everybody was like, oh gosh, Oregon's a shoe-in to win. And it's like, that game is probably close. Like, they're a touchdown separation instead of 3 touchdown separation, so and anyway, like, that was a crazy one. And it's kind of like, I was happy, but I wasn't happy, because I don't like Illinois, but like, I'm not.
But I mean, this is where we had them. When we talked about them as far as our overrated part at the beginning of the year, we had them winning this game, but having an eye on it as a toss-up.
Right. Yep. So
And Illinois so far hasn't shown me much to say that they're going to be better than 8-4, 7-5.
correct. I would probably agree with that.
Especially with what USC's doing right now.
Yeah,
Granted, they haven't played anybody, but last week 70, last night 68, like
59.
Yeah, 59 now.
Anyway, I mean, still so. Before I get into that, I just want to remind our viewers and our listeners, do not sleep on Duke moving forward, because that game was not. It was way closer than the score. So anyway, segueing into USC. They got some help in terms of that win last week from Missouri State beating Marshall this week. So and Marshall got obviously pounded by Georgia, but now Missouri State goes in, gets its first FBS win as an FBS program.
Yeah.
And it was 21-20, but all of a sudden you're kind of like, well, maybe Missouri State's not so much dog shit as everybody thought.
Yeah.
I mean, they're still bad. They're still bad, but weren't expecting them to go to Marshall and win.
Yeah. So. A little bit. I want to go a little bit talking about Penn State real quick, because I know they only won 35-0. People are complaining about FIU. FIU has a great shot of being the CUSA champions this year. They're a good program.
Really, I'm not aware of the talent level at FIU right now. So I just kind of ignored the fact that they didn't put up 600 points against them because everyone else in the Big Ten seemed to do that this week.
Yeah. But
people will see when we do our top 30 later, we didn't move Penn State.
No, and it's just let's hold our horses, because FIU, they're not going to be great, but they're going to be 7-5, 6-6, and probably playing in the CUSA conference title game.
Right. Yeah.
Unless Missouri State gets them, because Missouri State's in that same conference,
Anytime you get a shutout, though, it's a good thing. So.
Yeah, we saw a lot of that this weekend.
Yeah.
How dare Dan Lanning allow 3 points?
Dude, I said this at the opening. Oregon to me looks like they look like a title contender now for sure. Because I think, as long as everybody stays healthy, Dante Moore, all that, Decorian Moore is just huge for a freshman as a great. What's that?
So good.
Oh yeah, he's awesome. They have more playmakers. I used to think 2014 was the pinnacle for Oregon talent.
Yeah.
They're above and beyond that. It's crazy what they have at running back. They have 3-4 guys just that are capable of toting the rock, and so many receivers, and oh my gosh, it's crazy.
They get the top running back transfer in the portal, and then Noah Whittington's yeah, hey guys, I'm still here.
Exactly. And I thought of that because we kind of talked about Mekhi Hughes a little bit, why wasn't he getting the rock, and people are wondering why and all this stuff. And it's because people forgot about Noah Whittington when he got hurt, last year. So he was really good a year ago, so I don't know. To me, I just think that this Oregon team reminds me a lot of when you saw USC roll into Lincoln in 2007, which we're going to talk about 07 here in a bit too. But I remember the comparison our buddy Levi said, because he was at that game, and he's dude, they look like men compared to us looking like boys.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of what you saw similarly. Kenyon Sadiq and all these guys, they're just freaking cut. They are cut. So they're big and monstrous, and Oregon's going to have a lot to say when it comes to who wins the Big Ten title and also national title. I think they're better than they were a year ago.
What do you do as an offensive line when you have Ungalele on one side and Tuioti on the other side, and all that speed at linebacker?
Yeah, dude. Geez, Dan Lanning, he spent his time in Georgia. He understands what the SEC culture is and stuff. So, he knew what he needed to build in Oregon.
Yeah.
So, and he's doing it.
There's not a whole lot more we need to hit on Oregon, Oklahoma State. scores indicative of the game. Let's head down to Gainesville.
Oh yeah, baby.
If we thought that Alabama was running around with torches, at least like Florida State looks like good. I mean, USF looks good too, but at least Florida State's a P4. Florida fans, what was that one tweet you sent me? My wife got sent away by ICE, and I'm more pissed off at the.
Yeah, he's like my wife. He goes, my wife was deported 2 months ago, and I'm more mad at Billy Napier than I am ICE.
Yeah,
or something dumb like that.
Yeah, it's
it's a mess down there. Like alarm bells are ringing.
Easier. Look at Florida's next 3 games.
Yeah, dude. Like it's crazy with a we talked about at the beginning of the year how freaking tough Florida's schedule was.
Yeah.
Like in managing that to go like 7-5 was probably going to be somewhat successful. Like really. But man, now you're looking like you're kind of like, oh my gosh, they got to figure out a way to move the ball better. Now, credit to USF because we said that we like their defense. They fly around and they did enough to win that game. And
you took USF on the points.
I did. Yeah. So no, I didn't. I ended up going Florida.
Oh, did you? I knew I did.
I went Florida, even though I was like, I didn't want to, but I was just like, ugh. I mean, that just felt like a tall order. I was buying the freaking national hype. Don't buy SEC hype. Just don't ever do it. Don't do it.
I got to check something.
Now, here's the crazy thing. So in that game, late, when Florida needs a stop, they have their defensive lineman, Brandon Bett, spits on a USF guy.
Yeah.
And gets ejected in a 15-yarder with all that stuff, and sportsmanlike conduct, and and it's like, oh geez, another SEC developed guy spitting on somebody in a game within the same week. We just
saw this with Jalen Carter this week.
SEC degenerates down there, dude. Like, what are they doing? Definitely not teaching character.
Yeah, that's for sure. But one thing to keep an eye on. What have we said about this season? All 8 episodes. What have we compared this year to?
Oh, 2007.
USF takes on Miami this week. The last time USF beat an SEC and an ACC school in the same year, 2007.
Yep.
So
that's freaking crazy. I hope it happens so much because, like I told you before this episode, like before we started recording, like, okay, South Florida's got everybody's attention even further now. Probably helps pull Boise back into the mix a little bit, like in terms
of especially the way Boise played this weekend.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, if they go and knock off, so it's like, okay, you're a solidified top 18. Because we'll give Florida the benefit of the doubt too. That we did think they were going to be good. They're still good, but now USF can be in the top 22 or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Well, if they go to Miami and they go beat them, doesn't matter the score. They just go beat them. Yeah. Like then you're saying, is USF like a top 10?
Well, the AP will probably put them at number 3.
Well, better just put them to number 2 as soon as that way they can just get beat right away.
Yeah,
it's exactly. Like 7.
Yep.
Yeah. But anyway, that's so awesome though. Good for them. Good for them. And
good for the Bulls. I didn't see any of that game. How did Byron Brown end up? What was his numbers like? Did you see it all?
They weren't crazy, It was like it was just kind of a run of the mill game. Like both offenses had under 350 yards, and like Brown ended up having one of the. He had a passing touchdown, but it was like it's just one of those hard-nosed freaking defensive games, Like, and I was kind of surprised that South Florida was able to play 4 quarters of defense. I figured they'd have the adrenaline and the juice early, but and then you'd see it fizzle out. Well, it obviously didn't.
Yeah.
Now I heard this morning that Florida South Florida kicked 6 field goals. But then I went back to the box score and I saw that was wrong. So
okay.
Because I was going to say, well, that's kind of nuts. Because had it been that way, I was like, well, geez, their offense is good enough to get into field goal range 6 times.
I like where we're heading. Bring on chaos.
Yeah, heck
speaking of chaos, let's hop on the plane and fly west to Starkville, baby.
Oh shoot! I thought you were for sure going to go to Dallas.
No, we're going to end on Dallas because that was the game of the weekend, man.
Arizona State, Mississippi State, man. This one. I debated on whether or not I wanted to declare this as a shocker or not as shocking as everybody should think. Or as
when everyone questioned us on why we have Arizona State overrated, the one name we brought up was Cam Scatabo. I think people realize now how much he meant to that team, how much he meant to Sam Leavitt.
Right. Yeah, and you saw like Sam Leavitt's only completed 10 passes in this game. He was like 10 of 22.
72 yards, I believe.
It was bad. And you know, our buddy Colin, you know, he's like, Sam Leavitt sucks, you know, and I'm like, well, geez, I don't think he sucks that bad, but
yeah.
And then he kind of put me in my place, which he was right, you know. Well, stat lines don't lie.
Yeah.
So, I mean, well, he's got a point.
I mean, Jeff Lebby was about as talked about as anybody when they brought him into Mississippi State, and he's getting that turned around.
Yeah, I'm not ready. Like, I was kind of interested to see how much benefit Mississippi State would have from winning that game.
Yeah.
And I'm glad they didn't just get like a de facto top 25 ranking just to freaking, oh my gosh, the SEC freaking stuff. Having 11 in the top 25 is already bad enough. I figured it'd probably be somewhere around all like 13 of them this week.
Yeah.
You know, because
Missouri,
Mississippi State, Vandy, you know, like the only ones that aren't going to be in there for sure is Kentucky because they lost to Ole Miss. But geez, they played Ole Miss twice. They played Ole Miss close, so you might as well just put them up in there just because, you know.
Yeah. God. Well, and then you see what happens with Syracuse and UConn this weekend. So what's that tell you about Tennessee?
Exactly. And that's why those are the kind of things and the trends and the storylines I was piecing together when we did our top 30.
Yeah.
And we'll get all into that. So let's probably keep on moving.
Going.
We got a few games to get to.
We'll end with Cincinnati, Nebraska. So let's just go to Dallas before we hop into that.
Did we talk about Kansas, Missouri?
We just hit on it for like 2 seconds right there.
Okay. Well, Kansas, Missouri. Because I wrote this down because you've been kind of high on their defense, Kansas is, and they were flying around. And I just had to point out that while I agreed with you, they did look good the first 2 games, but they were atrocious, slow, and confused all game against Mizzou.
Yeah.
So this was an exact opposite of Illinois and Duke. Like that score was wide with the stats being close. This game was somewhat close, and the stats were way off. Missouri had 600 yards of offense. Kansas was like right at 300, I think. I think they were at 290. Okay, so like Kansas jumps. Well, Missouri goes down and kicks, scores right away.
Yeah,
gets the PAT blocked. Then Kansas scores 3 straight times in the first quarter, and one of those was a fumble by Missouri, a scoop and score. You know, for Kansas. So, like,
I was loving it. I was texting you, like, here we go, man. Brock Chalk, baby. Jalen Daniels.
I mean, when I finally got that game on, I was kind of happy, you know, and then I forgot that Bo Pribula is the starting quarterback at Mizzou.
Yeah.
And, dude, he was good, really good. Like, that kind of changed my outlook on Missouri. Like, I felt like they had receivers running free all over the place. The play designs, everything. Hats off to Eli Drinkwitz because he actually has a better team put together than what I originally thought. Personally.
Well, and when I listened to Pate Friday, because obviously his show's on at the same time we're recording, he said the difference in that game was going to be Perbula's running ability. So I didn't get his scrambling
ability. escapability was a big freaking thing there.
Like, and he said that was going to be the difference in the game is if they could keep him, contained.
You know how many times Josh Pate is right on things? I'm like, did he sell his soul to the devil to be right all the time?
Yeah.
Because the dude hits at a high rate in terms of being correct.
Well, people were up his ass last week because he took Alabama to win the title.
Well, that's true. I mean, that's true, but still. In any case.
Yeah, so
one thing. Yeah. Before we move, because I had a couple other games before we go to the last
there was one thing I want to hit on Missouri versus Kansas.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
Did you see the $25,000 kickoff contestant?
No.
So, like most schools do this, like McAfee started this trend now where you go out to kick a 30-yard field goal, and if you win, like Nebraska does it, you get $5,000 from FNBO. Missouri does theirs $25,000 if you make it.
Okay.
Missouri student lines up to take the kick, and as soon as he takes off, he turns around and kicks the ball at KU's bench. It was fantastic, dude. Like,
no way.
Why did they ever get rid of this game? The hate between these two schools.
I guess I didn't really realize that it was that much disdain.
Dude. So I got really into it when I was in high school because a bunch of my buddies from Millard North had a friend playing basketball at KU.
Mm-hmm.
And so where I actually got into the whole rivalry was KU Missouri basketball back in the days of like Kareem Rush and I'm drawing a blank on the KU kid. It's from Iowa Falls, Iowa, like just an absolute stud, played in the NBA. And so that's where I first got into it. And then that's right when Mangino had went to KU.
Like and Mario Chalmers or what?
Yeah, exactly. And made Mangino makes KU good. So now all of a sudden you got the football rivalry. And man, dude, they hate each other. So one thing I wish they would do is bring it back to, they used to play that at Arrowhead.
Okay. Well, yeah, like that would be a good venue for it, obviously.
Yeah.
So.
All right, let's jump into what you were getting at.
Okay. One thing, we're not going to stay on this very long because I know that we want to try to keep this show under an hour. If we go just over, then whatever. But Virginia, NC State.
Yeah.
Not a conference game.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, what? So, like, when I read that, I was kind of like interested to be like, what the hell? Like,
did you read the background on it?
Well, so obviously it was because of the schedule rotation. They wanted to preserve a rivalry, and they agreed to it being a non-conference game, which I kind of like. That could kind of set a little trend where some other schools may do that in conference because like what's the point of like having a rivalry and then
Wake Forest and North Carolina did it last year.
Oh, they did?
Yeah. So I was listening to Fox Sports Radio on the way home from the Nebraska game last night, and they were talking about this, and it's because of freaking Notre Dame refuses to join the conference. So they only have 17 teams, and they can't do a 9-game schedule.
Oh, yeah.
So what a lot of teams are doing is to get their 9P4 games, they're scheduling each other in conference as a non-conference game.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even we saw that a little bit, even postseason, like where BYU and freaking Colorado played a bowl game against each other. Like that's freaking nuts. That's weird.
Yeah, I still don't understand that one.
I don't like that, but I guess whatever. So
yeah.
All right, let's move on.
What'd you have next?
Just for a short thing, like Michigan State over Boston College in overtime, 42-40. Like that shocked me.
They didn't cover. There's the hook.
Yeah. Yeah. So
thank God
there's
that Boston
College. Not as strong of a performance on the ground from Michigan State as you would think either, but Boston College, man, they throw the ball a lot. Like they were pretty efficient in the passing game too. Vandy, Virginia Tech. I basically only have one question out of this. So Vandy goes to Blacksburg, wins 44-20 over Vautech. South Carolina struggles with Vautech
in Atlanta
in a neutral site. So what do you make of that? I mean, the Pavias. Remember, it's not the Commodores. It's the Pavias.
what I make of that is
34
I've been
unanswered.
saying since the beginning of the year that South Carolina is overrated.
Well, right, but I mean, they're still so. I mean, they're going to be ranked. They're ranked like 12th or whatever in the AP poll.
Well, the Pavias head to South Carolina this weekend.
That also, and it always settles itself out. I know.
Yeah.
So like, but yeah, it was kind of apparent that like the tale of two halves, similar to last week with Vatek. Like, are they not making adjustments at halftime? Because Vanderbilt scored 34 in the second half to Vatek's 0. It was 20-10 Vatek at halftime. So,
yeah, it's interesting, valid point. I mean,
yeah,
South Carolina, like we said last week, they needed that punt return to beat. I mean, they won by multiple scores, but that was the momentum when they got that punt return.
Yeah. So then the two last ones I want to do before we get to Baylor is, I'm just going to tell you right now, you were right. UCL ass.
UCL ass.
They got freaking. I mean, we already talked about Deshaun Foster. That's freaking crazy. And then the Stanford check-in, because we have to.
This NFL game's going wild right now. That's why I keep turning back.
Oh, so BYU was a 20-point favorite, if you recall that, right?
Yeah.
And so we were both like, oh gosh, well, duh, BYU is going to cover that. And they did. It was 27-3. So, but Stanford had a chance, dude. And Garen in Florida on that other podcast, he's like, oh my gosh, dude, like I need this for my bet to hit. He had BYU and Nebraska to cover, and so like, I'm kind of watching for him because he's like, dude, just tell me because I'm not going to watch this. And Stanford threw a pick on the sideline with like 2 minutes to go as they were driving, so yeah. So now Stanford's like, do we start tracking their record against the spread now too? Because they're 0-2 for that as well.
0-3.
0-3. Yeah. Sorry. 0-3.
But they got San Jose State this week.
This is the one.
Hey, San Jose State held Texas to 35.
I'm interested in this game. I might schedule my entire day around this one.
No, I mean, you go ahead because this schedule is insane this weekend.
I know. I'm just kidding.
Okay, we'll hit. Let's hit Baylor. SMU.
Oh, thank goodness! Just for the sake of my preseason Big 12 pick to stay alive. Yeah. Just for the sake of their well-being, because I thought if they would have dropped that game, it's like, oh no, dude, like season is just toast.
Yeah.
But I watched that game. Sawyer Robertson went over 400. He had 440 yards passing again,
back-to-back weeks, over 400.
Those guys air it out. Josh Cameron is a dude, like clearly big receiver. I hate that he wears number 34. That's freaking stupid. But kind of looks like Cody Green out there running, like, or not Cody Green. Yeah. Who was that dude that wore 34 in the Callahan era in the backfield? He was a big bruiser type dude, kind of tall.
That was Cody Green.
Was it? No, Cody Green was Cody Glenn.
Cody Glenn.
Cody Glenn. That's right. Yeah. Green was okay.
Quarterback, 17, anyway, transferred to Tulsa.
But the story here is that SMU led 38-24 with 5 minutes to go.
Yeah.
And Baylor scores twice, the 2 times they have the ball, to tie it. And actually, SMU had enough time to try to go kick a field goal at the end, which they didn't hit it. They missed it. And then so it goes into overtime. They both score a touchdown, and then SMU misses they push their freaking field goal left.
Yeah.
And then Baylor kicks its field goal to win. So, like, what a game. What a game.
I mean, Kevin Jennings had a good day too.
Yeah, and he kind of hurt his ankle on that last drive or so. Like, I don't think it's going to affect him, but he did come up limping pretty good. So maybe something to watch for.
Yeah, so incredible game all around. A couple quick hitters, and then we'll jump into our top 30.
Yep.
We told everyone to not sleep on Brendan Sorsby. And why don't you just read off his stat line from this weekend?
I don't have the numbers in front. I know he was 300 and some yards passing.
333 yards rush or passing.
And he was pretty efficient. I think he only had like 6 or 7 incompletions.
Yeah.
So like that's just goes to show, like we said, Husker fan, stop treating Cincinnati like they are dog shit. Like that's a good win, and it's going to prove to be, because all of a sudden, and I told you this when I started our conference rankings last night, and I was like, all of a sudden Cincinnati's kind of starting to climb up that Big 12 ladder just kind of by default, like played a good Husker team close. And then I think that they probably, I would say, pulled off the throttle, a little bit, because they were up 34 to whatever, and then Bowling Green scored twice for garbage time and stuff. So,
but what's it say for you about the Cincinnati defense goes and holds Nebraska to 20, multiple field goals, and then Nebraska goes out, scores 68 points, and that's with fumbling a ball on the 1 yard line and getting held on downs on the 1 yard line. Otherwise, they easily had another 14.
Yeah, that's correct. That's beyond crazy to me. I mean, like, they did that. We've been waiting so long for just a game like this, like, just, it kind of, does it really tell you how good Nebraska is? No. But in my opinion, I think it kind of does. It alludes to the idea that we're taking a step forward, because we haven't been able to score that many points in a game and hold the opponent to a low output total. And for God knows how long. I think they said it was 2009 was the last time we had a shutout, and that was against Arizona in the Holiday Bowl. So 68 to nothing. Or that was so fun to watch. Just
it was a fun environment to be in. Mm-hmm. Got to meet the volleyball team for Nebraska, the best team in the country. So that was cool. Let's use this to lead into, you have a stat. Nebraska wins 68-0.
Okay, so the Big Ten had absolutely a nutso weekend in terms of scoring points. 7 schools scored 56 points or more. The conference as a whole averaged 45.5 points on the weekend. So, like, Ohio State scored. Yeah, Iowa brings down that average quite a bit, actually. So Ohio State scores 70, Nebraska 68, Oregon 69, Washington 70. Minnesota got in on this party at 66. USC obviously putting up a lot of points. They're already up over 120 points for the year in 2 games. And then Indiana got on the right track this week.
Yeah.
Which, quick little tidbit, like, Old Dominion might actually be okay.
Yeah.
Like, they won a game by a lot this week that I was kind of like, okay, well, so anyway. But my curiosity is like, okay, in a culture or a society that is built on a lot of optic, like, everybody draws their conclusions based off of the surface level info, right? I mean, that's not, there's studies done into that. Like, that's why we have clickbait, right? Headlines. People read headlines. They don't read the meat of the stuff. So same thing in football. They look at the score and they form their opinion without diving into what was going on. So my theory is, and this is just I could be way off, but I don't think I necessarily am. Tony Petitti has an insane background in, like, entertainment. He's been with ABC, CBS, all this stuff, like
MLB.
Right. But he's always been at it from like an entertainment, like, side of things, and now he's the Big 12 or Big 10 commissioner. Is it possible or coincidence, or is it just coincidence that the Big 10, specifically a school like Minnesota, scores these types of points? Or was maybe Tony Petitti saying, like, sending out a message saying, you guys need to stop, don't pull off the throttle, like, step on the gas and send a message that, hey, our conference is freaking strong, dude.
Dude, Northwestern scored 45 points.
Yeah.
Northwestern.
Yeah. Yep. So I just thought it was ironic that, like, and I'd be like, that's actually kind of a clever move, in my opinion, if you are asking your schools to look, when you're playing these games, you need to be lighting up the scoreboards.
Yeah.
Or when
But
you're
you have to do
capable
it
of
for the playoff committee too now.
Yep. So,
I mean, are you going to look at a Oregon 69-3 win over Oklahoma State, or are you going to look at a 38-0 win for Georgia over, was it Gardner Webb or whoever they played?
Right. Yes. Yes, it was Gardner Webb.
Like, what one looks better?
Obviously the large one. So like that's why it's like, and who's the school that I mean, now I get it. Iowa played Iowa State this week, but they had an opportunity to light up the scoreboard against Albany last week. But who's also the longest tenured Big Ten coach?
Yeah.
So that's an old school mentality. He could just be like, I'm not freaking doing that because you know how the difference in generations are. So but like the college football playoff committee, they're gonna absorb those scores like kind of subconsciously, and then they remember like, geez, it's no different than Florida State scored 77 this week. Everybody's wanting to light up the scoreboard. I feel like we've never seen this.
Yeah, I agree.
So I don't know. So like I feel like there's like a secondary story than just the game, like trying to be impressive.
I want to hit on one thing just real quick before we jump into this top 30. After 2 weeks, where's your top 3 for the Heisman sitting? Do you want to go with ours? Or are we kind of in the same?
Well, I think the 3 that you gave me prior to the show is probably who I would agree with. I would still maybe put Jeremiah Smith in that group. But.
Yeah. So, Jeremiah Smith had a massive weekend following up that weird 2-drop game last week, and he only dropped 1 pass all of last year. But we went with John Mateer from Oklahoma, had 2 rushing touchdowns, a passing touchdown against Michigan yesterday, led Oklahoma to the big win. Thomas Castellanos, a lot of it because of that Alabama game, but he also took care of business yesterday. And then my guy, Jonah Coleman, follows up 180 rushing yards last week with a 5-touchdown game last night. Granted, Washington hasn't played anybody yet, but they got a big one with the Apple Cup coming up. But that's kind of where I'm at with the top 3 right now. Obviously, all 3 of these guys could not go to New York. But through the first 2 weeks, that's who looks the most impressive.
I like the addition of Jonah Coleman in there, and he's only going to stay lethal. So as long as DeMond Williams is the kind of quarterback that he is, as long as he stays healthy.
Yeah.
Jonah Coleman looks like he's built for the NFL right now. Yeah. Like I think he would go to the NFL, and he'll be a
first round,
either a first round or a high day 2. Pick, so like
because heading into the season, they were saying he's probably the best running back in the country.
Yeah, and it's kind of crazy because initially preseason, a lot of people were looking at Darius Taylor at Minnesota,
and now he went down with an injury Saturday.
Yes, he did. So, and that could be also just a precautionary, like, he got hurt
66-0.
He got hurt, but like, did you just be like, okay, we don't want to stress this any further? Like, I haven't heard any info on whether or not that's a big deal or not. So,
all right, let's jump into our top 30.
All right, there it is.
So we'll start with Penn State and Ohio State remain 1-2.
Yep.
Oregon goes up to 3, and then Texas is up to 4. And you brought up some very valid points on Texas. Do you want to jump into that real quick? Kind of.
So it's kind of like what I told you. Like, I think that the Texas Longhorns, well, they shouldn't be punished. We had punished them a little bit by dropping them clear to 6 last week. I don't think that was maybe necessarily the right thing to do. Like I had said in the episode that I was like, I would put them at 4. Yeah. And so then I think after seeing what happened with Georgia and LSU this week and their struggles against who they had, I think that was probably more accurate, was to have Texas be sitting there at 4, because LSU struggled with Louisiana Tech in a game where their starters played the whole time.
Yeah.
So, and then Georgia struggles with Austin Peay. in a weather delayed game. So like, and that was delayed for multiple hours. So, but I'm not like, again, like it just goes back to, it kind of goes back to Missouri State beating Marshall,
Yeah.
because Georgia beat Marshall, not by a huge margin. I mean, just kind of that normal, like 40-7 type thing, like, but when everybody's putting up 70 points this week, like that's what I'm talking about. Like, it's like, it doesn't look as impressive as what some of the, like an Oregon 69-3 over Oklahoma State, so
Yeah.
so that's how we kind of decided to arrange it this week. Put Texas back up top and in the group of the SEC.
Yeah.
And
so then we got LSU, Georgia, Miami, Florida State, Notre Dame, Alabama's back up in there. They took care of business this weekend.
Yeah, they scored 70 points. Ty Simpson was 17 of 17. He didn't have an incompletion. So,
and that's without Ryan Williams. He didn't play this week.
That's right. Yeah. Jeremy Bernard was like, he had like 14 catches or something dumb like that. So,
yeah.
Then we go to Illinois. Yeah. Oklahoma's sitting there at 12 with that win over Michigan. You give them a couple spot bump because of Michigan was in front of them.
Yeah.
Florida was in front of them. So like we're like, okay, so kind of just a de facto jump.
Yeah.
But I'm not putting Oklahoma above Illinois, Alabama, Notre Dame, and that kind of stuff, and because they beat Michigan, who sucks on offense.
Yeah.
So
I like where we're at with Utah, Iowa State next, and then honestly, man, Clemson at 15 might even be high right now.
I don't know what's going on there, dude. Like they can't. I mean, them struggling with Troy and LSU struggling with freaking Louisiana Tech only makes Clemson's freaking image look that much worse. Yeah. So to me, and I said this before, Clemson and Va Tech are almost synonymous like things to me. Like defenses are okay. Clemson's defense is obviously better, but they can't freaking score. Michigan, same thing. Can't freaking score. Iowa can't score. Like it, you can hold your freaking, if you hold somebody to 18 points, like you have to win those games. Like, I don't care how good your defense is. Like, if you can't freaking score, you're not going to win the freaking football game either. Like, everybody wants to say defense wins championships. Yes, it's true. You got to have good defense, but you can't be inept on offense. Yeah. Look at the 2009 Huskers. That's had one of the best defenses of all time, and they couldn't score on offense, and so we lost 4 games. So it's just goes to show you got to be good on all 3 facets of the game. So
yep, and we'll see. Clemson's got Georgia Tech this week, so that'll tell us a lot. Michigan drops to 16.
Hopefully Haynes King's healthy, though.
Yeah. Michigan drops to 16. Ole Miss kind of stays put at 17. Georgia Tech right there at 18. Then we get to South Florida at 19.
Yep. Put them right up there.
We weren't like many others. We didn't all of a sudden put them as the 12th best team in the country.
Right.
But
because you don't know about Florida yet, like they beat freaking NAIA Long Island or whatever they are, like Long Island High School for all I know. Like that's horrible.
Bishop Sycamore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just a new startup.
But I mean, if they beat Miami, they're top 10 team to me.
Sure.
And then so Florida falls to 20 right there, right behind South Florida. Texas Tech, who continues to just keep scoring. USC, Auburn. That win over Baylor is going to help them.
Well, you have to. I mean, you had SMU was in the top 17 at one. So Baylor beating them pulls them back up, and I mean it helps pull Auburn up. And
Jesus, Buffalo just scored 17 points in the final 4 minutes to beat Baltimore.
Oh yeah, that means Josh Allen had a game, boy.
Yeah.
Did Zay Flowers have a game today?
Oh yeah, Zay Flowers went off.
I had both of those guys.
Yeah.
Was it enough to beat you?
No. Not even close.
That son of a monkey.
I beat you 164 to 148.
Oh dang, we were both way above our projection.
Yeah.
Well, you more than me, but anyway. So we have Auburn at 20. We have Auburn at 23. TCU at 24 after that win at North Carolina. North Carolina only beat the Charlotte 49ers freaking 20-9, but
Yeah.
TCU's weapons, we've talked about it. So then Baylor at 25, SMU right there at 26. South Carolina at 27.
We debated this. We
dropped them. I had them completely out and
Yeah.
had them replaced with Vanderbilt. Like, I'm ready to put the Pavias
Yeah.
in the top 30. The Pavia.
And then I said we couldn't drop them 11 spots.
Right.
So this is on me. If Vandy wins Saturday, I expect you at the big old I told you so.
Yeah, we should make an extra bet this week. Let's think on that, and then we'll see what happens, because I'm definitely going with the old Pavia train. The old, so.
Yep, and so Nebraska, Missouri, Washington to round out the top 30. I like that little Nebraska, Missouri battle.
Right. Yep. So that is the top 30.
Yeah.
If anybody has any comments on this and like, why do we do a top 30? Because we don't think like we said last week, because there's 134 schools, going to be 135. Like, it's time to probably expand it to a top 30, because that group between 25 and 35 is so similar. And I know that you're like, well, it's just the receiving other votes group, but still, like, let's just call it a top 30 instead of a top 25, in my opinion.
Yep. So we'll wrap it up here. I know you're going to drop a little something tomorrow, so be on the lookout for that.
Yep, I'm going to do audio. Moving forward, I think I'm going to do some fantasy football stuff, specifically college. It's college first, but I'll do some NFL stuff too, and some sports betting on Tuesdays. Well, those episodes will release on, it'll release on a Tuesday morning and a Thursday morning on both of those days. They'll be audio only, unless I decide I want to do video or something. Yeah. But that'll just depend on the graphics. So,
So, like, follow, subscribe, give us 5 stars. Stay tuned for Wednesday when we look ahead to, if we thought big ones coming up.
What'd you say? Sorry, kind of cut out.
I was saying, if you thought week 1 was big, this weekend shits on that. We got a massive weekend of college football.
Absolutely. You'll see us again when we record here, and we'll be jumping into the preview for week 2. So it'll be a good one.
Thank you.